1 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're in Treaty 1 territory in the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I'll introduce the members of the panel. To my far left is Mr. Jerry Sneeze. Excuse me. To my immediate left is Mr. Robert Upton. My name is Stu McPherson. I'll be chairing the hearing today. The assessor for the City of Winnipeg Assessment Taxation Department is Ms. Jennifer Martins, and the secretary for today's hearing is Ms. Kathleen Sutherland. We'll be hearing applications for the revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application. We'll limit discussion to those matters. The statements that the applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Please be advised, comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council. It's independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony, followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they so wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. And the process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. Just as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. I'll just ask anyone that has a phone to put that on silent, please, and I'll probably swear the parties.
Please state your full name. Jennifer Martins. Do you swear that the evidence that you're going to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Please state your full name.
Jeff Badger.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Mr. Badger, you're representing 540 Balmoral, 554 Jesse, and 682 Corden. And it's the amount of assessed value in each property that we're discussing?
Yes.
No classification or liability? Thank you. So we'll just do this in order of the docket then. So, Mrs. Assessor, if you would start 540 Balmoral is the first property we'll deal with.
Okay.
You would give us your evidence, also include the roll number, please.
This is roll number 13051824100, 540 Balmoral Street. The assessed value is $549,000. This is a 3-story building built in 1905. If we look on page 3, we have our income workup. It's an apartment building with 14 suites. We have the monthly rent per suite at $574, which gives us a potential gross income of $96,432. We have a vacancy loss at 2.6%, and a cap rate at expenses at 61.43%, and a cap rate at 6.6%, which gives us our $549,000. We have some rent comparables on page 2. And the income mailer is on page 7 through 9 with just an overhead photo on page 6.
evidence.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Badger, any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Mr. Sneesby?
Yeah, the aerial photo, there's two buildings back to back there, are they the same ownership or?
You know what, I didn't look at the information of the neighboring building.
Did you inspect this property?
No, I did not.
Okay, how does the fine print here, without me trying to decipher it, how does this is based on the computer generated, right? How
Yes.
does the compare to the actual on the mailer there,
Well,
as gross income, for example?
the income on the mailer is at 110,263, where
Okay.
we have 96,432.
Okay, that's my question, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Upton?
No, I have no questions, thank you.
Step one, on your comparables, you've got gross floor area per unit in square footage,
Yes.
and what does that signify?
It's mostly for the size of the units.
So the subject at 1241 is significantly larger than the comparables?
Yes, it is.
Is it because the mix, there's more two bedrooms? Maybe why?
Well, if you look over at the furthest one, it has 14 two-bedroom units, and the gross floor area is still significantly smaller, but the rent is higher.
Okay. I thank you. Mr. Badger, was there anything further you wanted to add on this one?
Not really, I'll give you a response on the square footage, just for interest sake. I would say, I just noticed when I was going through, I was looking at the records, it says it's a 3-story building, but there is units on the, when they come up with a gross figure, gross area, they include the basement, because there is some habitable units in the basement, so they include the basement area in the overall gross. And then here, there's a link between the two buildings, and then an old boiler room, all that, in between that courtyard area underneath. So that's what sort of exaggerates the square footage, but I just thought I'd point that out. So.
Thank you for that. But nothing further to present then?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any, no further questions?
No.
Mr. Sneesby?
Oh.
Mr. Upton? Okay, thank you. You have one with us? Ms. Martins, when you're ready, we'll hear from you on 554 Jesse.
This is roll number 12097751700, 554 Jesse Avenue. Our assessed value is $1,445,000. This property was built in 1916. It's zoned Res SF small. If you look on page 3, we have our income workup. We have a suite count of 31. These ones appear to be all one-bedroom suites. The monthly rent per suite is $608.97, giving us a potential gross income of $226,537. We have a vacancy loss at 2.4% and expenses at 56.86%, and a cap rate of 6.6, which gives us a $1,445,000. On page 2, we have some comparable rents. They range from $658 to $798. Over on page 7 through 9, we have the income statement, the income and expenses report. And on page 6, we have an aerial view of the property.
Thank you. Mr. Patrick, questions for the assessor?
Yes. Did you have an opportunity to inspect the property?
No, I did not.
Were you able to check the past assessment files in the property in regards to they're doing inspections? I was wondering if you've checked to see if they'll come in the inspections and whether or not you read some of that material.
I might have, but I didn't take any notes on it. I don't have any notes with me here on it.
On your comp one,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me whether or not the building has been renovated or not?
Sorry, I cannot.
Comp two?
Nope.
Okay. Comp four?
Nope.
Generally speaking, the more renovations, the more modern the facility, apartment is, the higher the rent you can get?
Yes.
Okay, and likewise, I guess you're familiar with the rent controls, huh?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and in order to get a rent increase, one way you can do it is by justifying it by upgrading the property.
Yes.
I was just comparing your model workup for this particular cycle to the last cycle. Did you do a comparison on that at all?
I did not.
Have operating costs gone down in the last 2 years between the two cycles?
I don't
Your
have that
knowledge or-
information on me.
Well, generally speaking, like electricity, gas, hydro, taxes, I mean, would you say they've gone up, down, or stayed neutral?
A lot of that would also depend on the tenants that they have in there. A higher vacancy would mean a lower expense for, say, water usage. So I haven't had an opportunity to take a look into that.
Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Sleesby?
I have no questions.
Mr. Upton?
Yes, this building is considerably older than your comparable, 1916.
Yes, it is.
Have you inspected this property?
No,
You don't know about upgrades or changes or modernization?
I don't have any of that with me.
Are there parking spots available?
There are, there's income included under parking, if you look on page 7.
It's very hard to read.
Yes, it is. I believe it says
Look at the picture.
287 or 257 for parking?
Okay. And the NOI that you got from the return by the property owner is 40,000? Can't read that. What is that NOI?
Their NOI looks like 40,437.
But they've included property taxes and the expenses, I see.
Yes.
Okay. Did you make reference at all to their return?
In the model.
Your calculation, your calculation in terms of rental income and so on, did you look at their numbers?
So you're asking if the model looked site-specific at this property?
Yours is strictly model, is it?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't revise the model to reflect what they sent to you?
No, I did not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So the effective year built on your comparables, would those be maybe renovated buildings or the original buildings all more of the same vintage? As the subject?
I haven't had an opportunity to look at any of them, so I can't say the level of renovations on any of them.
Okay, and the subject, I'm assuming it's considered to be in average condition?
Yes.
Okay. And the cap rate of 6.6, how is that
Oh,
determined?
I'm sorry. These three properties, I double checked that this morning, these three properties are, this one is considered poor.
Condition?
Condition.
Yes,
Condition is poor?
yes, and that's how it got a cap rate of 6.6, because it's, and the rent has been influenced by the poor condition as opposed to average.
Okay. So this is, if I look at your page 4,
Mhm.
this is a low-rise B? So where this would fall?
As far as hours go, for the city-generated cap rates, they're, the multifamily is all the same. It's between, with a low of 4 and the high of 7.3, and with the 20th percentile at 4.9 and the 80th percentile of 5.3. So this one falls above the 80th percentile.
And towards the high of the citywide?
Yes.
Thank you. Roger, hear from you, please.
I just want to, first of all, maybe just comment, go on my page 3, comment on the past assessment periods and where we've been going on this particular property. In the past cycle, 2018, it was, the assessment was $1,000,004. It was reduced down to $1,000,002 by the panel here. Then we've appealed it to the municipal board. For the 2014 cycle, we just come to an agreement at the 2014 cycle, and it was reduced from $1,247,000 down to $585,000 by way of an agreement. The 2012 cycle, it was reduced from $899,000 down to $519,000. My recommendation, I'm going to go through my workup, is that the assessed value should be $585,000. I'm going to flip to page 4. I just want to comment on the property. It is a 3-story, it's like a 3+, so it's 4 stories altogether. So there are some basement units in the particular complex. There's been an ongoing error in the suite count that the assessment department was corrected at the municipal board level. In previous goes around, they're superstitious people, so they took out unit 13. And so notwithstanding, it runs from 1 to 31. There's 1 unit missing, so we only have 30 residential units in there. I would also like to point out that I'm not too familiar with all the different classifications of building condition, but I would say this building is probably at the very, very bottom. And I have some pictures here, if that's all right, if I can circulate them just to give you a feel for it. And the other thing is just to prove that one of the suites is actually at a commission. You can see the picture of it, and it has been that way for the last 5 or 6 years.
Shouldn't be a problem, but we'll just let the assessor answer it first, please. No problems with
No
that?
problems. Okay.
Maybe, if you don't mind, I apologize, I just tried to condense it all into one page. So some of them are up, some of them are sideways. But if you put the hydro meters to the right-hand corner here, I can just run through it. The only thing I'm trying to show you, the reason I took a picture of the hydro meters is because it's never been upgraded, the wiring in the building. Like, there's only 4 circuits per suite in the whole building. And, no opportunity to put a microwave. If you're looking at some of the new features they put in there. The picture over here is the corridor of the basement. You can see there's, pipes exposed and things like that. So, the carpet is just a cheap indoor-outdoor carpeting. There's some pictures here showing open studs. That's the suite that I told you that's is unoccupiable right now, currently, okay? It was leaking water from the, it's a hot water steam system in there, and the trouble with the steam system, it leaks in the walls, rots out the cavity, so they ripped it open to dry it out and just left it like that. The other thing too is, we can see a couple pictures there. You can see in the outside of the building, it's all original windows. You can also take a look at the back emergency staircases there. You'll see that the building is in poor, basically in poor condition. Well, if you don't mind, I got one more handout. Let's see if I brought enough copy here. This is just to prove to you the number of suites. I got the rent roll here. It's just to correct the 30 suites, I'm not sure.
Was the rent rolls supplied on the income and expense
Yes.
mailer?
Yes. So the only thing on there, you'll see that unit 13 there's nothing there, right, no number. That's how we get to the 30 units. And then the other thing, as we get into the numbers, I just want to point out, there's the actual rents. As of December 31st, 2017. I did the average, that's how I worked out my numbers. The average, I think, works out to 429 versus the assessor 609. The building is controlled, has never been upgraded. They've never applied for an increase in the rent controls. And it's basically an as-is condition. I'd like to do then, is maybe we can just flip to the the last page, which is Exhibit 1, my evaluation. Utilizing that average rent per the average rent per apartment unit, 429. The gross potential, even if that one was fixed up in the basement, would be $154,000 versus the 226 that the assessment department was talking about. I'll go along with their the vacancy factor, notwithstanding that one unit is not going to be rented in the near future. If I was to take that into account, that would push it up to about 8%. But I'll go along with the 2.4%. It gives me a net income of before operating expenses of $152,600 versus the assessor's 221. Our operating costs were more or less. I'm showing about $4,000 or $5,000 less than the assessment department's calculation on it. The operating cost is $113,977, which gives you a net income of $38,624. I saw that the capitalization rate was on the high end because of the condition of the building, so I accepted the 6.6, and that would give you an implied evaluation of $585,000. I'd like to point out that reviewing assessors, I did answer the question about the comps. To the extent that I could, I was just checking on the website to see how they advertise those comps. Some of the comments, 920 Coordinate Avenue, it's got new flooring, new windows, updated kitchens, updated bathrooms. Warsaw, spacious exercise room in the complex. Refinished hardwood floors, new appliances, dishwasher. I couldn't find anything on comp 3, comp 4. Renovated new flooring, exterior upgrades, new windows, defined as premium. So I know that these rents are ridiculously low, but basically they've never done anything on the building. They just keep pushing the rates up to the maximum they can under the rent controls. So that basically, so my recommendation then is evaluation of 585. It's in keeping with some of the municipal board evaluations that we've been including. So I don't think it's that far off. The assessment department's indication of 1,000,004 is just way too high. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Ms. Martins, questions for the applicant?
Yes. You've got 45,000 for repairs and maintenance. It doesn't look like any repairs and maintenance are being done.
Yeah, you'll notice that it's normalized, but that would give you, my suggestion, it should be in the neighborhood of 15 if it was, it should be in that neighborhood there. They have been making actually repairs, maintenance, but they're more, they have been making it, but that is a plug figure. I want to give the dollar amount per unit.
Well,
What I mean by a plug is like an average, okay? Like
Okay.
in some years they gotta replace the boiler, some years they don't. Some, you saw the suite that's ripped apart here. Someone's gonna have to dump 50,000 in there, or 60,000 to bring it back on stream.
absolutely.
So I believe that that's a good indication of repairs and maintenance.
So do you think so from this, we're calculating through their operating expenses on a yearly basis as normalized as 45,000 per
Yes.
year?
Yes.
And they're actually spending 45,000 per year? Like that's what we're, because that's implicating a lot for their expenses.
I would say on average, but the aggregate at the bottom, we're under what you're suggesting.
If they were putting $45,000 a year, do you think they would be able to increase the rents based on improvements done to the units as per good management style of a rental property?
I would say it would take a lot more than 45,000. I was gonna get my calculator. We're probably looking at an upgrade of about 75 grand.
Well, I'm just
per unit.
looking
So I'm
at,
just going into that discussion.
I'm just looking at, because if we're looking at the assessed value staying the same since 2014, and that's using $45,000 of repairs and maintenance as a yearly number, then perhaps that would mean that there would be an increase in the value from 2014, if over 6 years they put $45,000 a year into the property.
So I'm just gonna get my calculator. I would say the type of investment it would take to bring it up, I mean, it might shock you, but like the electrical, I have priced it out for him. The electrical's like $25,000 a unit. New heating system, like windows would be up there around 25,000. You'd be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1.8, $2 million to bring it up to all these other levels. If I capitalize that over 20 years, you're talking about $112,000 per year. So I'm saying the 45,000 is basically a drop in
Okay.
the bucket.
And you think your evidence from what we see here is that you're saying that no increase from 2014 until 2020?
Yes.
Even vacant land increases in value?
Well, but you got, the other thing too is you got some units here. I did it on the basis of 30. Really, we only have 29 operable suites.
So the value in 2014 is based on 31 units?
No, 30. But I'm saying
Okay.
right now, we only have 29 occupable units.
Okay. I think I'm good, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Sneesby, questions for the applicant?
Thank you. So your, Mr. Badger, your statement here of income and expenses, you've included 3 parking stalls?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's 4, but I included the income they actually.
This is actual income
Yeah,
basically?
they have 4 legal spots around the building.
Okay.
There's an empty lot, but the city, this particular owner has been under the careful watchdog of the city. And there is some green space, but he's been fined numerous times for allowing neighbors and people that have been trespassing and parking their cars on. He doesn't earn any income off of that, but, and if anything, he's been fined for turning, not policing it, because people have been parking to the side.
How can you be fined for not policing it?
It's
Is that some kind of, is there a
the lot
bylaw?
to this, the lot to the side, the space for someone, once it's, in this neighborhood, there's a high demand for parking. Someone will start,
Yeah.
parking illegally, thinking that nobody's gonna tow them.
Yeah, and this is, what did you say, steam heat?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's my question.
Thank you. Mr. Upton?
Yeah, the rent roll you gave us, is this, what date is on this? What,
December.
Current rental rate?
December 31st, 2017.
2017 rates? Okay. Okay. So what you're listing here is, this is the owner's statement, you say normalized.
Yes.
So you've changed some of these numbers from the expense mailer that was sent in.
Yeah, I think it's actually slightly less. Isn't it? Maybe the only difference is about $1,000 or $2,000.
It is close.
Well, maybe if you want, maybe actually check that, but I did check it, it looked like it was fairly close.
I just wanted to know what you meant by normalized in terms of the
Well, it was basically
relationship to what he submitted.
repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
Like the hydro, water, heat, that's all actual. The property management's actual. Insurance, he owns about 20 properties, so it's an allocation over the 20 properties, so. It's getting to the point, some of his properties are uninsurable.
Okay, are there any amenities in here, like a laundry room or something for tenants or anything?
Oh, I think there's laundry, yeah. I think they have coinmatics in there.
There's that kind of thing, eh? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So this reconstructed rent roll that you provided us with,
Well, it's not, that's the actual, that's from the management company gave it to me.
okay, so
I just took the names off, that's all.
I see 5 vacancies on here.
Yes.
What did you apply for
I
rent
just,
on
I
those?
went along, I just took what was there and like, the number of actual rents in there divided by the number of suites that those represented. And so I didn't divide it by the thing, I just averaged what was, they were collecting.
I see. Excuse me. And then you applied 30 units to that average rent?
Yes, to come up with gross potential.
And your R and M, the 45,000, some of the things you're talking about, wouldn't those be considered capital costs that you're talking about though?
Yes, some of it would be capital, but what I'm trying to say, when I came up with a number, which is substantially higher, surely you'd be allowed to apply for some amortization expense of your capital, your aggregate capital per year. I mean, a person should be spending, 5% of what you're, if it's 20 years, if your roof's in the last 20 years, you should be accruing an expense for, that will handle the repayment of that roof in 20 years. The value in this building is probably the shell. Some of this property, we can get into the discussion about the shell value. That's what we've been working on some of those other properties.
And I see you've applied the same capitalization rate as the assessor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a desire for submission?
No, thank you.
Becker? Thank you. We got one of this. Will bring us to 682 Corden when you're ready, Ms. Martin.
This is roll number 12022248000, 682 Corden Avenue. The assessed value is $559,000. This property was built in 1915 and has an effective year built of 1917. It is zoned C2. And if you look on page 3, we have our income workup. We have 14 suites and an average monthly rent per suite at $617.53, giving us a potential gross income of $103,745. On this building, we have a vacancy of 20%. We have expenses at 56.86% and a cap rate of 6.4. We have some comparables over on page 2, ranging in rent values from $553 to $694. On page 6, there's an overhead view of the property, and on page 7 through 9, we have the income and expense information.
Thank you. Mr. Becker, questions for the assessor?
I guess the same questions as before on the other property, but did you have an opportunity to check the assessment records on the past assessment appeals and/or some of the inspection reports that arose from those past appeals?
Same as the other ones. Anything I looked at was weeks ago, and I did not bring any notes about that. This one is, the quality is at poor. The vacancy loss has been overridden to 20% to reflect the vacancy issues in the building.
And then the last question on the comparables, were you able to check to see what the effective ages are and/or whether or not there's been upgrades in the comparables?
No, I have not had a chance to do that.
That's my only question.
Thank you. Mr. Sneesby?
So you admit or accept the fact that there is a high vacancy in this building?
Yes.
Do you have any idea of what the reason would be for the vacancy? I mean, this is a fairly popular area, I believe. Why would it?
I would assume it's something to do with the poor condition, but I wasn't the one that applied the vacancy to it.
Okay. Okay, that's my question.
Thank you. Mr. Upton?
Yes, again, we're dealing with a 1917 building, comparing it to other structures which are much newer.
Yes.
Are these other structures also in poor condition?
I haven't had an opportunity to look at any of them.
So you don't know if they compare closely or not in any sense?
No, you know what, these are ones that are in a similar area
Just area.
and with rents that are comparable to what the model has applied to this building.
Okay. And do you know if this is a chronic vacancy?
I don't remember what the notes said about it, but since it has been applied previously and it's overridden to this amount, that I'm assuming that it is a chronic vacancy issue.
On your picture on your page 6, what are these values placed on these buildings here?
If you look on the city website, these are the assessed values on the properties.
Assessed values,
Yes,
current assessments,
yes.
Yeah.
The proposed assessments.
proposed assessment, okay.
Sorry.
Again, I can't really read this income and expense statement. It's
Yes.
not much use to us if it's not legible.
Yes.
Okay. Very good, we'll let the appellant address that, I guess. Thank you.
It's a minor issue, but do you know why there was a 2-year variance on a building that's almost 100 years old?
Not a clue. I couldn't find any information about that.
Okay. And that wouldn't affect any of the variables in the model?
I think a 2-year difference from such a long time ago wouldn't make any changes. It doesn't change it from any of our, it doesn't make a difference in any of these.
And cap rate of 6.4% when we were seeing 6.6%? What's the significance there?
That's models, so it could be reflective of the size, or I'm not sure if that was.
Seems better than everything was.
I guess first thing I'll just run through my page 3, which is the summary. Just want to give you some history on the past assessment appeals on the property. As I mentioned right now, the current proposed assessment is $559. The last cycle, it was the proposed assessment was $626. It was reduced to $388,000 by the board revision. I don't know if you want. I did bring copies of the past to show that if you want to.
You can provide them and we'll put whatever weight we think is
Okay,
appropriate.
what I would like to note though, that the decision was based on the applicant's net operating income and capitalization rate in the past, and that's how we came up with such a drop in the value. What I'd like to point out that the increase from 388 in this cycle to 559 is a 44% increase in the assessment, which is seems out of line. Going back to 2014, it was 575, and they reduced it to 355,000 by the municipal board. I was going to flip over to a description of the property. It's sort of a similar, exact same shape as the other one. The gentleman has not done any work on the property. He's got a couple of suites that are uninhabitable, and would probably take quite a bit of work to bring that up. I do have a series of pictures here again. You want to run over? Actually, if you want, maybe at the same time, just to save time, you want the rent roll too?
If that's what you were going to provide.
Yeah.
yes. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay, here's the pictures. I don't think, well, maybe, I got one here. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have one. You have enough? All right,
Yep, I
great.
think there's one potential.
So here, maybe I'll just start off with here we've got one here, the green to the right-hand side there, that's a typical kitchen. You see this not being modernized. You can see a typical bathroom below it, still got the old tubs in it. You can see the common areas to the left-hand side, those are sort of like the staircases. A picture of the toilet in the middle of the floor, that's in the basement area. The suite in the basement, I should have taken a picture. Well, you can see the middle picture up over here. What's happening in the walls of the building is the steam's leaking, so it's popping the plaster, especially in the basement units. So you'll see there's an indication of how the walls are sort of destructing. So the building, that's the only way I say is has never been upgraded. It's still the same wiring. The boiler is probably replaced when it broke down. The roof is probably replaced when the last time they had it, collapsed or whatever. Other than that, though, there's been no other sort of modifications to the building or upgrades. Maybe we'll just flip over to my analysis now then. I did keep a column there, which is the owner's statement versus mine, to give you an indication. The big difference is the rent levels we're talking about. I did hand out my gross potential there, the 83,628 is based on actuals. And that's based on the December 31, 2017. Notwithstanding, I accepted the assessment department's, the owner's statement shows a 23.8% vacancy factor, but I'll accept the 20%. I didn't want to be too, just go along with the assessment department on that. The operating cost, the actual was 37,482, but when I applied, you'll see his repairs and maintenance was 1105, which is probably not appropriate. Lots of times he'll pay money out of their accounts to fix things, but a unit like this would be $1,100 would disappear real quick in any sort of repair. I came up with a operating cost of $43,493 in my analysis to normalize the statement. I'd like to say to you that the assessment department is using a higher level, which is $47,000. That $47,000 is a 22% reduction from what they use as the operating expenses from the 2018 cycle that we're here. So I don't know how that their model is suggesting that operating expenses are dropping. They actually moved up. Except the assessor's cap rate of 6.4%, that gives you a value of $378,000. So my recommendation is to accept the $378,000.
Thank you. Ms. Martins, questions for the applicants?
No, thank you very much.
Mr. Sneesby?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I should ask this question, but at what point would this building be considered to be inhabitable? The one prior to it? I mean, is there any danger of that happening?
Yes. Well, it has one right now. There's one that's the city's placarded. It's getting close. One thing I haven't put down here is building inspection fines. On some of the properties, they exceed the property taxes for health violations or building inspection violations on some of the properties. That's not, he's incurring them on this property. He hasn't included in his statement. That'd be something he's paying for out of his own pocket. I would say it's probably pretty soon.
Yeah.
He has a couple that are, if they went in here and re-looked at, like right now, I build new buildings and stuff like that, there's not code violations, because as long as you don't touch anything, you're exempt, right? You're grandfathered. But the electrical panels for all these suites are in the basement. And they're all open for any tenant to go in there and look, and there's only 4 circuits for a unit. If it keeps popping because the guy's plugging an air conditioner or something like that, it's so simple to go down there, put a penny in it, and put the thing back in and bypass it, so you can get some extra juice. I mean, that's what the type of thing that's going on in this. I shouldn't, don't quote me. I mean, that's what it explodes. Nowadays, your electrical rooms have to be locked. You can't allow the tenant to go into the electrical room, right? This particular one here, he did spend the money. The actual floor is rotted out. He let the leak go for so long, it rotted out the floor joist in 2 levels. So those suites had to be gutted, but it didn't, at the time, I was pushing for him to upgrade the wiring. He didn't want to, because that would mean he'd have to do a total building renovation rather than just a partial electrical. It's a compounding thing. I mean, as soon as you start pulling, you can't just upgrade the electrical, then that forces you to, upgrade the other systems in the building.
Mhm.
So you have to be ready to invest, $75,000 a unit.
So that would include, yeah, if you did the
You have to do
electrical, then you
everything.
should do the heating, and then you should do the plumbing.
Well,
and then-
insulation and all that. You see the walls are basically rotting, right?
Yeah.
There's there's another one where structurally that the walls are falling down, so they went and, they had an engineer advise them, they replaced the old stone walls with just those concrete block walls, just in certain sections to prop up that side of it.
Okay, thanks very much.
Mr. Upton?
Did you say you had a rent roll?
Yes, I'm sorry, can I pass it out? No? Okay.
What, you used actual on here?
Yes.
Okay.
That'll give us the opera suite.
Yeah. Yep.
And the 20% vacancy, which you agree with, is that reflected in the rent roll here?
You'll see empty suites on there, right?
Hmm?
Yeah, there's empty suites. It'd be
Yeah,
the
there's
lower
one or
number when
two.
the one suite's gone.
3 suites on here. Yeah, okay.
Yep,
Okay.
they were empty.
And the reason for the empty suites?
Well, one right now, there's stripped back right to the studs.
Pardon me?
One of them is stripped right back to the studs.
Okay.
And the other one has a wall issue where it's eroded the wall to the point that you can't have someone in there that's mold and the plaster is all falling off the wall.
So they can't be rented?
So they just close the door and,
Yeah. There's no effort to rent them or repair them, it's just
No.
close them? Okay, okay.
the one, like, there's no floor on one, it's a mud floor. Any building in like 1917, actually, a lot of people don't realize they're just wood floors over top of sleeves over a mud floor. And so you get moisture coming up, eventually it's gonna erode all your floors.
And you agree with the cap rate on this, 6.4?
Yeah, I mean, there's no sense arguing about it, I mean,
Okay.
this is the way it was presented, this is the way we're arguing it. On the other property, they are getting to the point where the shell value, you might have to start looking at the shell value of these things. There's one on Wellington Crescent that's probably what's gonna happen at the hearing. We went through the last cycle, they started arguing the land value rather than the apartment value.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry for taking so much time.
I don't have any questions, thank you. Desire for a summation?
No, thank you.
No? Okay, thank you very much. Leave that with us, you'll get our decision in writing. Maybe look at it a week or so. Mr. Story will hear you next, 260 McLeod.
Here's your picture. Say hi to your dad.
Thank you.
We're over here.
Number 7 on the dockets.
Number 7, the McConnell, you're right.
260 McLeod.
Would you swear in, please?
Oh, no, that's right. Is it your full name?
Jared Story.
Do you swear the evidence you represent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Afternoon, Mr. Story. You're here for 260 McLeod Avenue, and it's the amount of the assessed value that we're dealing with?
That is
not
correct.
classification or liability?
Just assessed value.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready, Ms. Martin, we'll hear from you, please.
Thank you. This is roll number 020316040000, 260 McLeod Avenue. The assessed value is $688,000. This is a building that was built in 1958. It's zoned multifamily. If we look on page 3, there are 11 suites, 1 bachelor and 10 single-bedroom suites. We have a monthly rent of $551.84, giving us a potential gross income of $72,843. We have a vacancy of 2.6% on this one, with expenses of 53.48 and a cap rate of 4.8%. On page 2, we have some rental comparables. And on page 6, we have an overhead view. And page 7 through 9, we have the income and expense information.
Thank you. Mr. Story, questions for the assessment?
Yes. Okay, so on page 1 of your brief,
Yes.
we have the actual year built listed as 1958, and the effective year built is 1958 as well, correct?
Yes,
And would that imply that no substantial upgrades have been made to this building in the last 60 or so years?
yes,
Okay. And you recognize that it is Class D construction, the wood or steel framed exteriors, correct?
yes.
Okay. Now, when I go to page 3, the city is recognizing that there was 1 bachelor suite and 10 one-bedrooms. From your perspective, would that be considered an ideal suite mix in this multifamily universe at this point?
Don't have an ideal suite mix in my head. I don't know how to answer that question.
Fair enough. The city has applied a capitalization rate of 4.8%, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And on page 4 of your brief, we see the cap rate table that the city has provided. Now, is the assessment department's cap rate study available for the taxpayers to view outside of this table?
not really.
Okay, can you tell us how many sales were used to develop the cap rate study?
Nope,
Can you give us a median age of the properties that were entered into the study?
nope.
Can you give us a ratio of high-rise versus low-rise buildings that were entered into the study to develop the cap rate table?
No,
Okay, can you tell us the mix of Class C and Class D construction that was used to develop this table?
no.
Does your cap rate study, do the cap rates include closing costs?
I'm not aware of what they used in the cap rate study.
So legal fees, same answer?
Same answer.
Okay, so am I then correct in assuming that this table is all that the city is willing to provide the taxpayer in terms of demonstrating how the cap rates were derived for this site?
At the current time, yes.
Will we have more information in the future?
Potentially.
Okay. Yeah, those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Sneesby?
I have no questions.
Mr. Upton?
Where is this located? Where's McLeod Avenue? Is that in that zone? East Elon?
Henderson and McLeod.
Henderson? Okay. And these comparables are all in the same area?
They're in the same market area, market region that we use.
Okay. And have you inspected this property?
No,
Okay. So you don't know the condition of the property?
no, I do not.
Okay, thank you.
This is model generated value,
Yes, it is.
so the the assumption that it's average condition, average quality?
Yes.
And is there adjustments to the cap rate for certain age ranges?
Yes, ages do create difference in the cap rates.
And 1958, where does that fall? I'm assuming you start with a base cap rate?
Yes, and this is the base cap rate for average for in that age range.
Okay, so for an adjustment on age, would have to be, do you know what year that starts?
I don't have it offhand, sorry.
And your comparables are in East Kildonan and Elmer.
Yes, they're in the same market region, so they're, I know where Talbot and Brazier are, but I'm not sure of the Sant and Green off the top of my head, but they're in the same market region.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Story, here for you, please.
So we're looking at 216 Cloud Avenue. As we've established, we have a building that was built in 1958 with no substantial improvements to adjust the effective age of the property. 2.5 stories, and once again, 1 bachelor suite and 10 one-bedrooms. The 2020 realty assessment that's been proposed is $688,000, and we request that it be revised to $636,000. So again, the property is located on the south side of the cloud between Roach Street to the east of Henderson Highway. Sorry, to the east, Roach Street to the east and Henderson Highway to the west. And this is in North Kildonan. So the property is presently being used as a multifamily residential building. And again, we have 11 units, 1 bachelor, 10 one-bedrooms. The site size, according to the City of Winnipeg Property and Taxation Department records, is 8,120 square feet and is zoned residential multifamily. So for the purposes of this report, the main issue that we are contesting is the cap rate. The assessor has used a capitalization rate of 4.8%, whereas we've applied a capitalization rate of 6.25%. If I may direct your attention briefly to page 5 of my report. We've included a summary of the Altus cap rate study, which is also been provided to the board in its entirety. And you'll see that our cap rate study for assets built between the year 1946 and 1959, for those assets, we've applied a capitalization rate of 6.25%. Whereas the city has used a range, it would appear generally from 4.6% to 5.3%. Okay, now if you follow me to page 6, I will not belabor this because the modeling for the city here has actually come up with a lower NOI than the actual stabilized financials. But our methodology is to create a stabilized typical year's financials and then capitalize that with the appropriate capitalization rate. So again, not to belabor the point, but the city has used a 53.5% income expense ratio, whereas the actuals indicate that it's about 44.9, giving us a net operating income of $39,758, which is an actual number versus the city's model $33,000. And when we capitalize our actual NOI stabilized, we come to a value of $636,131,000, and we ask that it, again, that we round this to $636,000. Now, in terms of how we apply the cap rate of 6.25, I will point you to our handout, the Altus cap rate study for apartments. If I can direct you to page 3 for a moment, please. These are the...
It's in there. One moment, Mr. Story.
No, I got it, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Sneaky?
Page 3 of your cap study?
Page 3, please, yes. Yes, sir. Okay, so these are the sales that we studied a number of sales in the market and found that these were the sales that were most representative of arm's length, fee simple transactions for the multifamily universe within the relevant time period. And we found that the first input, which is 210 St. Mary's Road, would be the most comparable to our subject. Now, 210 St. Mary's, you'll notice, the suite mix is the same, the vintage is very similar, and it transacted at a cap rate of 6.26%. Now, it's similar in every way. The only difference comes by way of location, but I believe that those locations would be reasonably comparable as well. So we believe that a cap rate of 6.25 is appropriate in this scenario. And again, we're asking for a revised value of $636,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martins, questions for the applicant?
No, thank you.
Sorry, you said no?
No, thank you.
Mr. Sneesby?
Just to confirm, you're accepting the same NOI as the city, and we're contending the cap rate, is that?
Correct.
Okay. That's, yeah, I just want to be clear on that. That's my question, thanks.
No questions for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So, if I look at your page 6,
Yeah.
the net operating income that you arrived at is 39,758,
That's correct.
and the city assessment is 33,005. So you're not really accepting,
Not accepting it,
you're not accepting their NOI,
I mean.
you're higher
It would
on
be,
your
it
NOI.
would be gratuitous for us too, but no, our methodology indicates that we use a stabilized typical year and then an appropriate capitalization.
Okay, so it's the cap rate of
It's just the cap rate
6.25 versus the 4.8.
That's correct.
And in your cap rate, when you developed it here,
Yeah,
you pointed a couple out. And I know you made mention of closing costs,
right.
and
Closing costs are not included in our cap
Not
rate study.
included?
No, legal fees and closing costs are not included.
Did Colliers use the closing cost?
I'm not sure if they still are, I know that in the past.
I'm trying to remember what Rocky
Yeah.
said, that's,
Yeah, I know that, yeah, I don't know off
I
the
get
top of my
that,
head.
yeah.
Yeah. I also know that the third parties like Colliers, Cushman, CBRE, they develop their cap rate studies using only investment grade properties, so that's a whole other.
Yeah,
It's a
I
little
am aware,
complex.
yeah, of that, yeah, you're right.
so you did say that your most comparable one,
210 St. Mary's
210
Road.
St. Mary's, and why is that?
Based on the size, the vintage, it's, if a prudent investor were looking at this market, that person would likely be looking at this type of asset compared to the subject. We're not gonna be looking at something that's built in 2014 or 72, perhaps 72, but this one, based on its size, based on its location, and both on major thoroughfares, built in the same year, same amount of units, it would be, it's a, by my estimation, it's a very good comp.
You've ruled out your third one, 155 Mighton. That's in Elmwood, is it not?
It's in Elmwood. That one is a little different. I believe that's come before this board. And it would not be as comparable as 210 St. Mary's, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Desire for summation?
No, thank you.
Nope.
Story?
Thank you all for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
to 748 and 757 Bang.
Yeah.
It's Diane Tunnel,
Yes.
is that correct? Come, please have a seat.
Thank you.
Yeah. I knew. I've had them before.
Please state your full name.
Diane, last name C-U-N-G.
Okay. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I, um, I would, do you want to, because this, I have put the tag number here.
Okay.
Last time, the door of that document, I did not have it can enough time to put the tag number, so may cause the more difficult.
On this one?
Yeah, for 748 and 757 bending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now I have put the tab number clearly, so make it easy for you go over. Do you want to extend?
Yeah, we'll wait till it's your turn to present your evidence. So we'll hear from the assessor first, and then
Yes.
by all means we will.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, have you been here before,
Yes,
Ms. Funk?
yes,
So
I
you
do.
realize the process, the assessor will present their evidence, you'll have an opportunity to question what she has to say, as will the panel.
Yes,
And then it'll be your turn to present your evidence, and the assessor and the panel may question you.
right.
Okay, so the first property we're gonna hear is 748 Banning.
Yes.
When you're ready, Ms. Martin, we'll hear from you, please.
Thank you. This is rule number 13022579000, 748 Banning Street. The assessed value is $375,000. This is a building that was built in 1954. There are 11 suites. On the first page, it shows that I'd like to request for the burden of proof, but I would like to drop that request, please. As the income statement was, it was submitted. If we look on page 2, we do have some subject sale history. It was purchased quite a while ago, in 2007. The sworn value was $825,000, while the sale price was $387,500. On page 3, we have some comparables with rents ranging from $403 per month to $612 per month. Page 4, we have our income workup. The condition on this building has been adjusted to poor to reflect the condition of the property. We do have the monthly rent per suite at $501.36, which gives us a potential gross income of $66,180. This property has a vacancy rate of 25% put on it to reflect that it is vacant. The expenses has been, is at 61.43%, and the cap rate is 5.1%, giving us our 375,000. We do have an overhead picture on page 7, and on page 8 through 11, 8 through 12, you'll see that we do have the income and expense information, and the only information on it is that the building is vacant.
Thank you. Ms. Kung, do you have questions for the assessor about what she's presented here?
Yes. This building is the boiler and already broken, and the assessor had been come in this building to look on last year, this year I can't remember. And he put down this building is totally damaged.
If you look on page 4, we've increased the amount of vacancy loss, and it does have a high expense percentage in order to bring the value of the property down to very close to land-only value, and it's also below the sale price from 2007. So it is taken into consideration that the building is in very poor condition and the building is vacant, because it's just above land-only value. This one is one off of being put to land-only, but it's hard to put something to land-only when there is a building actually still on it.
What the sale price at this building when I purchased, what the price when I purchased this building?
We have that the purchase was October 25th of 2007, and that the sale price was $387,500.
But that time is the condition, everything is good, right?
Actually,
Yeah.
since the sale price was,
But now it's
sorry?
yeah.
Since the sale price was less than half of the sworn value, the assumption would be, my assumption would be, that the sale price reflected that whoever purchased the building would be required to put in significant work into the building in order to make it produce an income for them. Yeah. So my assumption would be that there's an expectation of putting a few $100,000 into the building in order to make it livable, in order to make it profitable for you.
Is it the low of property you're being to comparison? Do they have a good condition in the building?
I haven't had an opportunity to look at any of the buildings. They are in the same market region. So we do have one on Furby for $403 a square foot, and I'm not sure what the condition is of that property either. But that's to show what market rents would be, considering yours is vacant, so we don't have actual rents to use.
But though of this property is can renting right now, right?
It's reflected as being vacant, and that's why we put overrides on the vacancy loss, and we have a high expense percentage on there because it has been entered. This is a property that we have taken a look at, and it has been taken into consideration the condition of the property and the situation that it is a vacant property that is not able to be rented out. So that's already been taken into consideration in the value that is on it right now.
But they property can rent it out. My property is can rent out at all. And how can you bring that comparison?
Because we need to show a market rent. So we need to take some examples of properties that are what we can produce as a rent, because we need to show something. So, because otherwise we'll put it at land value, which is very close to this value. And we're showing properties that are similar in age and in a similar market area, and that are comparable in the number of suites. And all of these properties have only one-bedroom suites. So this is as close as I could get to show what a market value could be for rent.
But you know that is not fair to comparison to my property. They have the rent and their building is good condition, and my building is totally is no value at all.
After we've looked at what their comparable rent is, then we've applied additional reductions to your property to reflect that there's a high vacancy, that it's vacant. And then we've also added the high expenses ratio. And also we've applied the higher vacancy and the higher expenses in order to reflect that this is a property that's not in rentable condition.
Do you have some property is same as vacant like my building like that way?
Well,
To compare, because this you can bring the apple compared to the something the big one you compare to the one is no value like that way. You know that is not right to comparison like that way.
Well, see, that's
And,
the challenge with vacant buildings.
And also the assessor had to go into this building to look it, and he can see it's terrible on this building because
Did you have further questions for the assessor though? Because you can certainly, we'll give you as much time as you'd like to present your evidence, but you're still just questioning the assessor at this point.
because I don't know how to question it. Because that happened last year. I don't know how to question it.
I
So-
think you did question her. I think you said, was she aware that an assessor went in and had a look
Mhm.
and see that it wasn't rentable property, right?
Yeah,
That was your question? And I think she said,
Yeah.
yes, she was aware of that.
yeah, and so I may need the more question assess department, right? Because I don't know how to question because my English not good enough
Mhm.
to bring up the question,
Okay,
and
well, that's fine then. Maybe we'll just leave it at that. The board will question the assessor and then you'll have your opportunity to present your evidence. Because
right,
that's probably what you're trying to bring forth.
yes,
Okay?
yes.
Thank you. Mr. Steesby, questions for the assessor?
Thank you. Are you aware of what the vacancy situation is on this?
It's currently vacant. It's been vacant for years.
Since date of purchase, do you think? Or do you
I
know?
thought 2009. I was looking at the permits for this property
Okay,
to see what condition it was in. There were no major permits taken out since date of purchase. There was no evidence of any work being done to improve the property. There's evidence of tenant complaints, tenant problems, and right up until,
well, if there's tenant complaints, then there's tenants, so,
for the first 2 years.
okay.
So there were tenants in it when it was purchased, but as I said, if you're looking at a sworn value of over 800,000 and you pay less than 400,000 for it, that's a property that is in serious need of repairs and upgrades. So, and those were never done. And it's reflective of the value because with the sale price from 2007, our value for 2020 is already less than the 2007 sale price.
You didn't inspect this building, did you?
I did not, but I spoke with my coworker who did inspect the building.
Okay,
And he inspected the building, he noticed the poor condition, he noticed the vacancy, and he's the one that put in the overrides and put in the changes to the property in order to reflect that it is a vacant building, which is vacant because it's in bad condition.
yeah, okay, so he manually put in the override.
Yes, he manually put in overrides to reflect the
Okay,
condition of the building.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Upton?
Yeah, you say it's now down close to land value.
It's very close to land
Do you
value.
know what land value is in the area? Have you
Um,
arrived at your number
On,
for land value?
when I took a look at this property, it was roughly, because because I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was approximately $15,000 to $20,000 away from land-only value for this property.
Okay, do you consider demolition costs on that then?
No, I have not considered demolition costs in that. This would be, if you take into account roughly $10,000 for like the value of just a frame of a building, this would be reflective of the land value plus a nominal amount for the frame of a building. So that would be taking any improvements on the inside of the building out of the value.
So your evidence though is it is close to land value?
Very close to land value, yes.
Okay. I think that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. So you're saying this October 25th, 2007 sale,
Mhm.
consideration is listed as $825, and your assumption is that because it's half of the sale price, it needed a lot of work?
Yes,
that-
that's my assumption.
Okay, that's not on record anywhere, or?
It's not on record anywhere, but if you take a look at, when I looked at the permits and the complaints that had gone in since the date of the sale, there were many tenant complaints about a variety of issues, including lack of heat, lack of water, and general condition of the building. So my assumption based on being worth less than half of the sworn value, in addition to looking at the complaints coming in from the tenants that were currently in the building at the time of the sale, my assumption is that it was in great need of repair at the time of purchase.
Okay, and it's also your assumption that this $825,000 is for this property only?
That is my assumption.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Kung, did you say you wanted to hand something out?
Yes,
It's basically the same thing, but with tabs in it?
yeah, have it tagged in here, so easy, make it easy.
Okay, these do have some tabs,
Yeah,
but you've got more tabs on those?
yes, this,
You don't have a problem with that?
It was handed in late anyways.
this I have put the tag on. Okay. And I look, is it, they have been color picture on. So that is three for the board.
Yeah.
So that's instead of this one?
Yes, yes.
So this one. Somewhere.
And also for this one, 2757 Benny.
Yeah, we'll do that next though. So-
Because better go this first because this had comparison property. So easy for you look into it.
It's comparing assessments.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you didn't hear the preamble at the beginning, Ms. Gunn. The Board of Revision does not consider comparing assessments as market value, evidence of market value. So the assessments is not going to help the board in determining the market value of your property?
Because the assessor tried to confusing the board. When at the 2007,
Mm-hmm.
the market value for this building is for both building is 825 for both building, not just for one. So she tried to make it.
The sale price was?
No, that the mark, that is that the value at that time in the building in a good condition.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, it mean a good building at that time. For both building is 825 at that time, not just for one. However, she tried to make the board confusing to put that the value is 825, that is not is the truth. So, and back to 2007, the building is, I bought this building is 387, because at that time, I don't know about the building at all. So, and the agent just showed me 2 or 3 units only. And at that time, they showed me 3 units is good. And they say the rest is all like the same, and I trust him. And I did not I did not hire the appraiser to appraise the building at that time either. So I just purchased it, what the agent say, and the agent tell me the rent at that time is 420 per 1 unit at that time. And however, after 2 years, so because 420 did not have enough income to expand, so I come to ask the tenant to increase the rent to 450 per month. And then some tenants agree, some they don't. So therefore, I had to, they bring me to the residential bank, and residential bank say, no, this property not rent at 420 either, have to be 371. That is show you on the tab 4. On the tab 4, at this page, that's why I want to show you this page in here. So make it easy for the board. Can you pass this to the board, please?
So they apply to this property and the property we're going to hear next, is that?
Yeah, because the previous, no, this is
want
not.
to, for the record.
The previous landlord increased the rent to the tenant, did not apply to residential bank. And had many years, they did not apply to the residential bank. And now it's my turn. So it's the residential bank say, no, this property should not increase to 450. Even 420 also is not right either. This property have to be rent at when you look at the unit 4, the tab 4.
Yep.
You look on the tab 4. They ask I refund to the tenant because the previous owner did not apply to residential bank to increase the rent for many years. Therefore, it's my turn. So the body, the residential bank know that and ask I return to the tenant, the money to the tenant for many years. What they pay for it. So it cost me a lot of money and to deal with that. And also the board comes out to this building and inspect every unit. And the board also, you see the order, the tab 4 is the order, the rent refund. This just 325 instead 400. 20. So and not just one unit, 11 units is for the whole building. All the units have to be returned to the money, to the tenant.
Is there something else you wanted to point out to us? Ms.
Yeah,
Clark?
and you see, therefore is and I is 2009 is the assessment for this property for 74A bending is 146,000 only at that time. 2009. And for 757 bending is 146,700 only. And then 2010 increased to 336,000 for 757 bending. And for 74 bending, 74E bending is increased to 313,000 for 74E bending. And 2010, I don't know how to appeal this matter, so I don't know how to do it. Then 2012, I appeal it, and I bring this the order that the rent is not right by the previous owner, increase the rent is not right like that, and also the condition of the building. Now the board have to order, I have to do all the plumbing, do all the electric, and renovation inside the building, all the drywall and countertop, something like that. And the board revision is at 2010 bring down the value from 336 to 190. And until 2016, the same thing value, because the building did not have a change to renovation, because I hired some contractor come to renovation, and they asked the money first. They asked I had to pay for them first, so they do the work, and then I just pay to them, and then they give me a lousy job, and I don't agree. I say no, you do like this, they don't last long, they will cause problem. And then he just walked away. He said, well, then better you do it. Then they walk away from my money. And I tried to chase him, to sue him. But I can't get his address. He already moved. And I lost the money. I can't get back the money. And this couple of years, I had to try to save the money to renovation. But then the boiler is broken. you can see on this document. The boiler cost
Did
is,
you need a moment, Ms. Conlon? We can break for a moment if you'd like.
oh, it's okay.
Okay.
The boiler repair is 137,000.
That's on this one.
Yes. Because the heater on every unit, the heat registration also broken, not only the boiler. Because the boiler broken cause all the heater in the unit, every room are broken. So that's also replacement as well. Like you can see on the next page, you can see the board here, they are all broken. And you can see the taxi. The taxi is I asked the company, the other company come to ask me for repair this unit, and they asked for repair in 2011. Is on tab 2 here, on the tab 2 here, tab 2 on this document,
That too.
yeah.
Yeah.
The new one better, you look on the new one, yeah, that have the tab 2
Two.
in
Gilbert Interiors, Housing Interiors. Oh, oh, okay. Continue.
tab 2, yeah, that document, the document, yeah,
This one?
that's the one,
This
yeah.
one.
Oh, okay.
Tab
Yeah,
two.
yeah, that's where I was. I wasn't lost after all. Hey, you're not lost. Oh. Dove Interiors,
Yeah,
178,000.
what, is, the total work is, at 2010, they asked for 223,000 plus GST. That's just labor only. The material, I have to go to buy it. That's just the labor only at that time. And now I asked him come back, and he say this year might cost me to 600,000, 550,000 to 600,000 to do the interior for 11 units, to repair the drywall, to take down the drywall and put the drywall, tapping, painting, and then do the countertop and do some door all get moved. also have to change the door and change the flooring. So the cost is 550 to 650 for the whole building. And the roof, beside that, the roof on this building now is 2013, they asked for 9,900, but this year they asked for 22,000. So they repair it. The roof was leaking. Got the mold, the ceiling is down. As you can see, the electric is not installed yet, and the floor is not good on the tap 5. And on the tap 6, you can see on the hallway is the wall is cracked badly on the hallway. And unit and tap 7, the condition inside the unit, that's how they look like. Because they get moved, have to remove all the drywall on that. Not just one unit, 11 units, all on that like that condition. And tap 8 show you the carpet is really old because the roof leaking make the whole building is go to get mold badly. And tap 9 is show you is all the sink and toilet is really old. It's not a good sink or good toilet either. Everything is pretty old. And tap 10 show you is all the countertop in 11 units, all is old. Same as the cabinet. This is for 757 bending, and you look at 74A bending, it's same thing. It's same thing condition. All the flooring and the drywall, countertop, everything is pretty old. So the contractor say to fix these 2 buildings. One building will be 500 to 600,000 per one building, just interior work only, not not do the boiler, not do the roof, nothing else. If the roof is cost more, the roof they ask for almost is 10,000 for the roof repair. And the brick is did not count the masonry work. The brick work is 22,000. The boiler is 100. $137,000, almost 140,000. So therefore the assessment ask for assessment for 748 Benning 2018 is 304, and I go to appeal municipal board and did not have the hearing yet. They say we'll set up the hearing for 2008 assessment for 2008 in this spring, in the spring follow year, not now. And you see, and this building already damaged. And 2020, they increased from 304 to 375. That is ridiculous, you know. How can the assessment do like that way? And 2004, the assessment department say they excuse it, they did not come to inspect this building. And I asked, they come down to inspect the building. And he comes down there, he feels sorry. In front of me, he say he feels sorry for me. He look on the building, he say, he can't believe it. But however, he come back, he did not do anything. Besides that, increase more on this year. Therefore, I need your help.
So what you're saying for, if I may, 748 Banning, you're saying because of the condition of the property, you don't feel the assessed value is reflective of the value of the property?
Yes. And beside that, at 2007, in the building good condition, it's 387 only,
Right.
not 825.
850,000 was for both
For both
748 and
75.
757.
Yes,
That's why you've got sworn values of 375 and 4, they totaled to 825, is that correct?
yes, yes. But however, the
So-
assessment department tried to confusing the board.
Yeah, so it was a multiple sale, it was for the two properties at 825.
Yes. With the
And at that-
good building.
At that time, the buildings were functional, and
Yeah, it's working, everything working.
so from 2007, when did it deteriorate that much to get from 2007 to the state it's at now?
Pardon me?
You said it was in good condition in 2007,
Yes.
but how did it deteriorate that quickly?
Because after at the time I renovation the building, the boiler broken.
I see, okay.
The boiler broken at 2010. That's why caused everything damaged because they broken, and I asked they come to redo it. They say no, this have to be take down the wall, take down the dry wall because the tap for the heating this is boiler. So they say the the boiler need to open all the wall to come to the every room heat registration. So therefore, they say have to tear down all the wall to do on that. And they say they tear down only, they don't put up. That cost 137,000. And now it's both building is all cost, all damage. The 757 bending, and now the roof is leaking badly.
Right. Okay, and we'll get to 757 banning too, but 748, so that's your contention is that it's vacant, the building's vacant, and it needs substantial repair,
Yes.
if I may sum up. Okay, thank you. Did you have any questions for the applicant then?
Same as 757 bending.
Yeah, we'll get to that after this. That one will be quicker because I think you've given us most of your presentation, but we'll see if the assessor has any questions for you about 748 banning.
When did the last tenant move out?
2009. So I asked the contractor come do the work 2010. And at the time they do the 2010, the boiler broken also.
Okay, thank you.
Have you tried to sell the property since then?
No, because I already lose so much money. So now we try to, I ask a member in the family, the income, we try to join together to fix this building. We try to save the money now to fix it.
Right. So you haven't tried to sell the property?
No
what the
one,
assessor was
no,
asking.
no one buy this property for 337. No, when I sell this property, no one buy it. The condition like this.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing else?
Nothing
Thank you.
further? Mr. Sneesby,
No further questions.
Mr. Upton?
How much do you think the buildings are worth now? Like, you want us to set a new value on this, you don't agree with the city. What do you think the value should be?
Well, it's 188 for 748 bending. I accept that because even I think that is still not right, but
That was last year's, that was the 2016
16.
assessment? That's the
Yes.
thing, you think it's worth that money now?
yes,
Okay. I assume your thinking is the same on the other one, although we get to that.
yes, yes. Because the building already get totally damaged. It's no chance to increase like that way. Like something already damaged, there was no value. How can the something no value can increase, right?
So you still hope to fix up this building?
Yes,
You hope to repair it yet?
yeah.
Not
So we
sell it, okay.
so we can sell to get back the money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't get back this money.
Yeah. Well, the city says it has value for the land. You could sell it for the land, that's what's good.
No, not like this much, not at all.
Okay, well, thank you. That's good.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't think I have any questions, but I would like to go back to the assessor just for a moment. It's got a 25% vacancy on it.
Yes.
Now, in light of what we've heard, is 25% a maximum amount that's allowed?
That's the standard maximum that we put on it.
And that's for chronic vacancy?
That's for chronic vacancy.
Does that also reflect condition or rentability or?
Yes, the reduced amount for the vacancy, this property is in poor condition. It's been overridden as far as we can with the standard parameters that we have on the properties, so that it reflects higher expenses, the high vacancy, and a low rent. As I said before, it's just above, it's barely above the land only value.
And what about this 5.1% cap rate? How is that determined?
That was model for being a poor condition
Poor condition.
property, because it is a small property with sorry, what's the gross? With having less than 10,000 square feet as the gross area of the property.
And what about the area? Was there any premium added for the area, this particular area?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I ask you, do you know the previous assessments, like 2016, which is your calendar citing, was that appealed? Was that
I'm
deemed through appeal or what?
under the impression that these have been appealed since 2012.
They have been appealed, okay.
Yes.
So these reflect the appealed values those years.
I'm not 100% sure on all of them, but it's my impression that they were, that wasn't the original model
Okay,
value.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mrs. Gunn, we're going to also hear 757 Banning, and the assessor is going to present evidence on that one. Same thing if you want any other questions, or if it's the same questions, we won't go through those.
Yeah.
And then your presentation, I think you've pretty much covered it, but you'll have an opportunity to touch on anything that's specific to that property too.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
This is rule number 13022456000, 757 Banning Street. Our assessed value is $401,000. This is a apartment building that was built in 1955. It's zoned C1 commercial neighborhood. On the front page, you'll see a request for non-cooperation. I'd like to drop that request, please. On page 2, we see the sale. My information was erroneous as to the multi-role sale. The sale price in 2007 was $437,600. There are some rent comparables on page 3, and we have our income workup on page 4. This property has 12 suites, 1 bachelor, and 11 one-bedroom suite. We have a monthly rent of $491.19, giving us a potential gross income of $70,731. We have an overridden vacancy amount of 25%. We have expenses at 61.43% and a cap at 5.1%, giving us our estimated value of $401,000. On page 7, we have an overhead shot of the property, and then that is followed by the income and expense mailer, which the information on it is that the property is vacant.
Thank you. Mrs. Cook, do you have any further questions about this property that's different than what you've asked for 748? Is it the same circumstances here, so?
Yeah, because it's, I find out is the assessment being low of this property comparison to my property is they build in my building 757 5 Banning is built in 2009. 1955, 1955. But though this building is built in, you can see it's built in 1970 and 1946. All is newer and all is a bigger unit than mine, right? And how can the assessment being low of this property comparison to my property? That's not right comparison at all. And beside that is, my building now is, even had to tear down, even the land also have to ask someone to demolish it. And the demolish it also quite a lot of money also. Not just 10,000, something like that.
Okay, so there's nothing further you wanted to ask the assessor about 757 Bank?
What the tab file you put in here is, you say, on tab file, you put down the single tenant A 5.5. What that mean?
Sorry, which page?
Page 5.
Yes. Are you looking at under the industrial cap rates? Single tenant, industrial properties?
Yeah.
We're not looking at that. If you go further down, we're looking at the multifamily.
What mean the multiple family?
Multifamily is apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what you say low is 4.
Yes.
What mean 4?
A cap rate of 4%, that's the overall capitalization rate that we use. We apply it to the income of the property, and that gives us our value.
But this building is no income at all. For both building is no income at all. How can you apply this?
How would you like us to, we use a model in order to apply a value onto the property. This one is not land only, so we use an income value.
But this no income, right?
Yes, and that's why we use comparable properties, and we look at their income rates, their income values that they get from rentals, and then we look at the vacancy, and that's why we put a vacancy rate of 25%. So with the rent, if you look on page 4,
Yeah.
we put less than $500, so $491.19. That's the rent that we say that you could get on your suites. And that gives us a potential income of $70,731. And then we apply a vacancy rate on that. So we take $17,683 away from that.
Oh, you
And
say
then-
25% vacant.
Yes. And
But
then,
my both building is totally vacant.
yes, if we put 100% vacancy on it, it would be a negative rate. So it would be that the building is worth less than $0. So in
So
relation
is-
to that, for properties that are completely vacant, for the most part, we give them approximately 25% on their vacancy. Because then we're also applying expenses. So we've got $32,587 of expenses on top of that. So we're saying that the potential income of this property is $20,000. And then we apply the cap rate to that. So once we use the cap rate that's come from comparing other sales of apartment buildings, then we come up with our $401,000.
But that doesn't make sense at all, right?
Well,
You know, it's
but this
we
is-
talk into the fact. Look on the building is 377 Home Street. this apartment, they in a good condition,
We cannot use other assessments to find the value.
but they assessment 2018, just 281 only for 377 Home Street. This also apartment too, and the page 3 show the picture of 377 Home Street, the bottom one. This also apartment too. And this apartment have income and in a good condition. The assessment just only 281 for 2018.
Are we using assessments to,
Yeah, that's how the assessment for it.
Yeah, we'll give that the appropriate weight.
thank you.
So
Was there something further you wanted to ask the assessor though? 'Cause
I don't
I think we
know.
understand what you're saying, but
Yeah,
no further questions for the assessor?
no.
Okay. Mr. Sneesby?
No, I have no questions.
I have no questions, no.
Yeah, I think they've
Building
been asked and
vacant,
answered.
The building has been vacant, similar,
Similar
Like-
situation.
yes,
Thank you.
Similar situation,
yes,
25% maximum,
yeah.
the cap rate of 5.1, same situation?
Same
Not
situation.
sure what the adjustments were.
It was adjusted to poor and the vacancy was overridden.
Right, but
Ah.
I'm not sure what premiums were added to the cap rate over and
Yeah.
above the base.
No.
Thank you. Mrs. Kung, was there anything further you wanted to add then? But I think we understand what you're saying, but is there anything further you wanted to add on 757? It's the same situation as 748 that we
Yeah.
dealt with, where you purchased it in 2007, I think it was, and by 2009 it was vacant. Is
Yeah,
that Same situation, the boiler went on this one too?
yes, yes.
Are they both fed by the same boiler system?
It's boiler system. They both is boiler system.
So they're sharing the boiler
No.
system?
No, they're not
It's
next to each
a
other.
different building. No share.
The
The
but
boiler.
both boilers went on
Yeah,
at the same time?
yes. The boiler is 757 Benning is 2011. 2010 at 748 Benning.
Okay.
It's not that old, is it? 55, it's not really old. Some of the other ones we heard today.
Mhm.
Okay, I thank you. Any desire for summation?
No, thank you.
And
Mrs. Kung, is there something further you'd like to say, or?
Yeah, and as you can see, is because at that time is like I would like to you look on this document on the tab 8.
Tab one?
Beside the
H?
yeah 8.
H.
Mhm.
Beside, I have to, the residential bank, beside they order, the rent from 420. That for the previous owner, just the rent from 420 had to be down to 385. Bring down to 385 per month. And also beside that, they also ask for not only fix the drywall, they also request change all the bathtub on the unit, the tap H. On number 6, replacement bathtub in suite 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not is the countertop or only. Also is for the bathtub in here. The residential bank ordered the tap H. So as you can see is the contractor give me the price that 550,000 to 600,000. That did not include replacement the bathtub at all. That did not replacement for the toilet or sink. Those of that I have to buy it.
Right.
Even the countertop.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think we know your position. Leave that with us. You'll get a decision in writing
Yeah,
within the next week or so.
yeah,
And then there is a further opportunity to appeal if you're not in agreement with our decision. Then that would be included in the letter that you'll receive as well.
yes,
Okay?
yes.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you
for
for
your
having
presentation.
us.
Okay, we're going to take a
Can,
5-minute recess. Thank you.
can I get back on those of that? I would just present to you because make this copy is cost a lot of time.
You like them back?
Yeah,
Yes.
I just need to keep one of each of them for the records.
Can I
The
get the
files.
old one back?
Yeah,
I want to get the old one back.
I can give you the
So
old
make
ones.
it easy for
Yeah,
me.
because they'd just be shredded.
Yeah.
So I'll give you back. So are you, yeah.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.